I'm 74 years old, and the greatest thing I lost in my life wasn't money. It wasn't even people. That's the part that surprises most when I say it out loud. From the outside, my life still looks intact. No scandals, no disasters. I didn't end up alone on a park bench. I had a career, a family, stability. People still describe me as someone who did well, and yet I'm standing at the edge of my life realizing I missed something far more important than wealth or relationships. Society taught me the wrong lesson. It taught me that if you're disciplined enough, patient enough, and willing to delay yourself long enough, life will eventually reward you with meaning. It said happiness is something you earn later, after you've proven your worth. That was the trap. And the first thing I betrayed wasn't my wife or my children, it was my own attention. The younger version of me, the one who used to notice things. My son's name is Michael. I still see him the way he was at 8 years old, tugging at my sleeve, asking if I could come outside for a few minutes. I remember saying, without thinking, in a bit. That bit stretched into years. He learned something that day, not about patience, about absence. For decades, I hid behind what I called responsibility. It sounded noble, safe, adult. I told myself being a good man meant being useful, reliable, needed. I believed love was proven by consistency, not closeness, by providing, not lingering. I thought if I kept everything running smoothly, the rest would take care of itself. I told myself self-denial was strength, that ignoring my own needs meant I was mature. I truly believed that paying the bills, keeping order, and staying busy was the same as being present, and the world encouraged that belief. Promotions came, praise followed. People trusted me with more work, more responsibility, more of my time. Every time I felt a quiet discomfort, I buried it under logic. This is what grown-ups do. This is what it means to be responsible. One day I told myself I'll slow down and enjoy it. There was a moment when I thought I had finally won. I remember it clearly, standing in a house that felt settled, clean, quiet, everything in its place, no chaos, no urgency. I had reached a point where nothing was about survival anymore. I remember thinking, this is it. I've built something solid. Now I can relax. Now I can pay attention. What I didn't notice was how little there was left to notice. The silence didn't feel peaceful. It felt dull. I told myself that was normal. That calm was the reward. Routine did the rest. Wake up, work, come home tired, repeat. Days blended into years, and every time a voice inside me whispered that something was off, I answered it the same way. Just a little more. Just finish this. Tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow became my favorite word. It sounded responsible, safe. It allowed me to postpone being awake. The moment everything stopped didn't come with drama. No argument, no loss you could point to. It came as stillness. I was cleaning out a drawer one afternoon looking for something insignificant, and I found an old notebook, mine, from years ago. Inside were lists, goals, plans, notes about becoming successful, page after page of what I intended to build, and not a single line about how I wanted to feel. That's when the clock stopped. I realized what I had actually lost wasn't money or people. It was my ability to be present while life was happening. And once that realization settles in, it doesn't leave. For most of my life, I hid behind a virtue that no one ever argued with. Responsibility. It sounded solid, mature, respectable. I told myself that being a good man meant being dependable, that being a good father meant making sure nothing ever fell apart, bills paid, plans made, problems handled quietly. I believed love was something you demonstrated by keeping everything running, not by slowing down. I thought my value came from being useful, needed, reliable. I convinced myself that if I stayed busy enough, disciplined enough, everything important would take care of itself. I called that maturity. I called that sacrifice. And because the world applauds that kind of behavior, no one ever told me to stop. I built a simple logic and lived inside it for decades. Work hard now so you can rest later. Delay yourself so others can feel secure. Push through discomfort because that's what responsible people do. I told myself children don't need attention all the time. They need stability. That presence could be replaced with provision. That listening could wait. That there would be plenty of time for feeling once everything was under control. Every time something inside me felt tight or hollow, I dismissed it. This is adulthood, I said. This is what it costs to be reliable. One day I'll slow down. One day I'll enjoy it. There was a moment when I truly believed I had won. I remember it clearly because it felt so final at the time. I was standing in a house that felt finished, clean, quiet, everything in its place. No urgency, no chaos. I had reached a point where survival was no longer the question. The career was stable. The future looked secure on paper. I remember standing there and feeling relief instead of joy. Relief that I had proven myself, relief that the struggle had been worth it. I told myself, this is it. I've built the life I was supposed to build. Now I can relax. Now I can pay attention. What I didn't understand was that attention doesn't wait for permission. And by the time I thought I had earned it, there was very little left to notice. Routine did the rest quietly. Wake up early, work through meals, come home tired, fall asleep thinking exhaustion meant I had done something right. Days blurred into years without asking my permission. And every time someone wanted more of me, I answered with the same promise. Just a little more. Just finish this. Just get through this season. Tomorrow will be easier. Tomorrow became my favorite word. It sounded responsible, safe, adult. Tomorrow gave me permission to ignore today without guilt. I truly believed tomorrow was guaranteed, that health would hold, that relationships were elastic, that life would wait while I handled my responsibilities. I thought balance was something you earned after suffering long enough. I didn't realize life doesn't pause. It keeps moving quietly while you're busy proving yourself. And the most convincing part of the lie was that it didn't feel like neglect. It felt like virtue. It earned respect. It earned praise. People trusted me because I was always busy, always reliable, always composed. But here's the truth I learned too late. That noble lie doesn't collapse all at once. It drains you slowly. It teaches you to live in the future while your life happens in the present. It convinces you that being occupied is the same as being alive. And one day you look back and realize you didn't lose your life in a single mistake. You traded it away carefully, responsibly, one sensible decision at a time. The moment everything stopped didn't come with drama. No argument, no collapse, no phone call that split my life in two. It came as quiet, ordinary, almost polite quiet. I was alone in the house one afternoon, the kind of afternoon I used to rush through without noticing, the kind I always thought I'd enjoy later. The rooms felt settled, like they had already adjusted to not needing me. That should have been my first warning. I stood there longer than I meant to, listening to nothing, realizing there was no sound waiting for me to answer it anymore. That's when the clock stopped. Not the one on the wall, the one inside me. I went into the spare room to clear out a drawer. I told myself I was being productive, practical. That old habit again. I wasn't looking for memories. I was looking for space. At the back of the drawer, under things that had lost their purpose, I found a folded piece of paper, thicker than a note, softer than a document. I unfolded it carefully because it felt fragile in a way that had nothing to do with age. It was a drawing, crayon, faded colors. My son Michael, small, stick arms, a crooked smile, and next to him a larger figure that was clearly meant to be me. We were holding hands. Above us a sun that took up too much of the page, the way children draw hope when they don't have the words for it. On the back, in my wife's handwriting, were words that hit harder than any accusation ever could. He asked where you were. That was it. No anger, no explanation, just a fact. I sat down on the edge of the bed with that paper in my hands, and for a moment I couldn't breathe. That drawing weighed more than every plan I had ever made, more than every goal I chased, more than every excuse I used. That was the instant the truth finally reached me. I understood then that the finish line I had been running toward my entire life was an illusion. Every time I thought I was close, it moved, because it was never meant to be reached. There was always another task, another responsibility, another reason to delay paying attention. And the people in my life were never meant to stand still while I chased it. They lived, they grew, they learned how to move forward without my presence. I had been running toward a future that required everyone else to wait forever. They didn't, and they shouldn't have. Sitting there with that drawing in my hands, I saw my life without its protective stories for the first time. All the just a little more promises, all the belief that tomorrow was guaranteed. Tomorrow isn't a place you arrive, it's a place you hide. And while I was hiding there, life was happening somewhere else. People don't wait forever. Attention doesn't pause. Presence doesn't store well. That was the moment I understood what I had truly lost. Not money, not people, but the chance to be awake while my life was actually happening. You can rebuild money. I've seen it happen. People lose it, earn it back, lose it again, and somehow start over. You can rebuild a career too. You can find a new title, a new purpose, a new place where people clap when you walk in. You can even rebuild order. You can clean the house, organize the drawers, straighten the shelves until everything looks calm and controlled. But you cannot rebuild a moment you were absent from. You cannot earn back a child's question when he looked at the door and hoped it would be you. You cannot buy back the exact feeling in a room when your family still expected you to be part of it. Time is the only resource that never returns. It doesn't accept apologies. It doesn't care that you meant well. It just moves forward. And it leaves you with whatever relationships and memories you actually watered while it was passing. Michael's grown now, and he's good to me. That's what people say when they're trying to be kind. He's respectful. He checks in. He asks how I'm doing. Sometimes he visits, but he speaks to me like you speak to someone you don't fully know, like a relative you see a few times a year. There's warmth, but it's careful. There are topics, but they're safe. I don't know what keeps him awake at night. I don't know what he's afraid of. I don't know what he dreams about or what he regrets. I can tell when he's holding something back, and I also know I'm not entitled to it anymore. I lost the right to his inner world without a fight, without a single dramatic moment. I lost it the way you lose hearing, slowly until one day you realize you've been nodding along to things you can't truly understand, and the world I gave myself to moved on even faster. When I stepped back, people thanked me. They said my work mattered. They gave me a handshake and a few speeches and words that sounded permanent. Then the calls stopped. The emails stopped. The machine kept running without me like I was never there. That's not bitterness. That's the truth. Institutions don't love you. They use you while you're useful, then they replace you. And if you trade your life for their approval, you will eventually discover how quiet it gets when you're no longer needed. Here's something that doesn't get said enough. You don't just lose people when they leave or die. You lose parts of yourself when the people who witnessed your younger life are gone. There was a version of me that existed only in the eyes of those who knew me before I became responsible, before I became busy, before I learned to postpone joy. When you lose that witness, your past becomes thinner. Your memories become less certain. Your own story starts to feel like it belongs to someone else. That's what it means to feel like a ghost. You're present, but not essential. Included, but not central. Loved, but at a distance. And you finally understand the price was never money. It was closeness. It was moments. It was the simple comfort of being someone's first call instead of their polite obligation. Listen to me now. Not as a character in a story, not as background noise, as a man who reached the end and finally understands what all those years were hiding. I know you're tired. I know you're telling yourself you've earned the right to switch off tonight. I know you think you just need this next bonus, this next promotion, this next stretch of discipline so your family can finally be comfortable. I know you believe you'll call your parents on the weekend, that you'll spend real time with your kids when work slows down, that you'll be present when things calm down. I believed every one of those thoughts. They sounded reasonable, responsible, mature, and they were the most expensive lies I ever told myself. Here's the part that still follows me into the quiet hours. There is no alarm when the last chance passes, no warning, no announcement. One day you're busy. Then you're distracted, and then, without realizing it, you're no longer essential. The people you love don't stop caring, they stop waiting. Not because they're cruel, because life teaches them to keep moving. And once that happens, something changes that doesn't fully come back, so listen carefully. Close the laptop, not later, not after one more message, close it now. If you're at work, go home. If you're already home, put the phone down and sit next to the person you love, without trying to be impressive or useful. Make the call you keep postponing, not tomorrow, today. Say the awkward thing. Ask the question you're afraid of. Show up even if you're exhausted and quiet and have nothing clever to say. Presence doesn't require energy. It requires a decision. I am not telling you to abandon responsibility. I am telling you to stop trading what cannot be replaced for things that can. Your job will survive without your extra hours. The world will move on without you faster than you think. Your family will not, at least not at first. And once they learn how to live without you, that lesson is hard to undo. If you're still listening, I want to ask you for something. Not for numbers, not for attention. Subscribe, because I don't have many years left, and this is everything I learned too late. Leave a comment and write the name of the person you will reach out to today. Give me your word. And if this reached something inside you, share it. Not for me, for the person who is right now making the same mistake I made decades ago. Don't wait 50 years to understand this, because unlike me, you still have time.